Happy New Year to all of those who are watching this video on the Optimized Career Solutions YouTube channel. I can't believe that it's 2024. How did last year go by so quickly? I don't know, but I'm glad that you are here with us in the new year, because this year and this month we are focusing on ways for you to kickstart your job search and advance your career if that's something that you're looking to do. Last month in December, we talked about how to get ready for this year, specifically getting ready for your performance reviews, getting ready for your annual reviews and your self-reviews, and visualizing what you want in the future. And if staying in your current position is not it, well, I'm glad that you're listening, because today we are going to be talking about how to stay authentic when writing your resume. If you haven't checked out the Career Advancement Podcast yet, I highly recommend you check out our first episode for the year, which is the reasons why your resume is never chosen, where we go over, my husband Jack and we go over some of our best practices for writing your resume. If you didn't know, I'm an executive resume writer as well as an executive career coach and Forbes writer, and I also write for the University of Phoenix, so I've written a couple of things. But after writing over 5,000 resumes, being a corporate recruiter and a certified senior professional in human resources, I know a thing or two about resumes. And so if you are looking to tackle your resume this year or this month, make sure to check out yesterday's episode where we drop some of our best tips in order to maximize your resume, getting through that applicant tracking system, or better yet, landing you an interview so that you can beat out your competition and land your dream job this year. This episode is supplementary to our podcast episode yesterday, where we're going to talk about how to stay authentic when writing your resume. Because last year's Merriam-Webster Dictionary word of the year was authentic. And this is a trend that I have been seeing over and over and over again, is as the new generations come up, as we are more and more on social media and we see TikTok, etc., and we move away from Instagram and move into TikTok, authenticity is going to be the most high currency that we see online. People are craving authenticity, and this is going to start translating into your career and your job search as well. People want to work with people that they like, people that they resonate with. And when you are being potentially not authentic, inauthentic in your job search, in your resume, in your branding, it's going to start resonating as fake, as false, as more and more people start embracing their authentic selves. And so if this is something that's important to you, if you want to advance in your career and you want to start potentially getting rid of those shackles of inauthenticity, perfectionism, people pleasing, the weight of other people's expectation, well, you are in the right place. So we're going to talk about how to tell your story throughout your resume, in your branding, authentically. Because telling a story through your resume brings your career to life. It's also easier for a decision maker or recruiter to visualize you as an asset to their organization when you tell them how you are an asset to other organizations by sharing your story, right? Personal branding can also make a significant difference in your job search, right? Your resume is an overview of the skills and experiences that you've acquired throughout your career, but the personal branding aspect of how you tie it all together on your LinkedIn, your resume, is how you market yourself and how you differentiate yourself from your competition and your specific brand. Everyone has a brand, whether you like it or not. You have a brand. Your brand is your style. It's the way that you talk. It's how you really resonate with your values, your experiences, your skills, your knowledge. All of these things are part of your brand. And you can either curate that brand and showcase it, or your brand is going to just come together whether you like it or not. And so what I always recommend is let's curate your brand and let's continually process and develop and maintain that reputation, that impression, and that branding that you have. And let's have it be authentic, because, hey, you are you and there's no one else like you. And that's going to be your differentiating factor between someone else who might have similar experiences, skills, etc. as you do. So your resume, again, is not just a document, but it's a strategic tool that reflects a part of your personal branding. So in order to do this authentically, first we have to figure out what your unique value proposition is. Your unique value proposition is a statement, right? It's a sentence or a statement that describes who you are and what you value and how your skills and experiences can help solve that employer's need. What distinguishes you from your competition. You can also incorporate this into your resume, your unique value proposition, at the very top in your career summary, all of those other good things. But really your UVP, your unique value proposition, can be incorporated just by simply tailoring the style, tone, and content of your resume to your unique brand. Developing your UVP is done by reflecting on your skills, your experience, and the unique impact that you've had in all of your roles, right? So a formula for how you help people, or what your unique value proposition is I help your target audience, or whoever it is, achieve these specific results by doing this thing. So for us, right, our UVP, our unique value proposition, our mission statement for our businesses, we help high achievers and leaders achieve a fulfilled life by providing career services, starting with and having a fulfilled life starting with their careers, right? So another way to do this in a job search or as a personal brand is that as a seasoned marketing executive, right, I elevate tech setups, brand presence, driving an average of a 30% increase in online engagement through innovative digital strategies. So that's a really great UVP because you help this specific target audience, which is tech startups, achieve what? Online engagement increases. How? Through innovative digital strategies. So that's something that you're going to want to figure out for yourself. What do you do really well, right? For me, again, I help job seekers, high achievers, and leaders achieve landing their dream jobs by providing authentic branding and job search strategies, right? And a supplement is achieve a fulfilling life starting with their careers. So this UVP is the way to write your bullet points, including achievements, experiences, and measurable data. When you think about this through that UVP brand light, right? You want people to see what your authentic brand is by virtue of your value proposition. So when people see your bullet points, in this marketing executive example, you want to see how you have helped other tech startups drive increase in their online engagement or other types of results similar to that through the actions that you have taken or the projects that you've done in the past, right? So each bullet point that you create, it's meant to be brief, it's meant to be clear, and each bullet point is literally a little story that talks about how you've done something and supplements your value proposition. A bullet point can't tell the entire story, of course. That entire story is something that you're going to tell in the interview, but it's going to be a short, compact version of that story that you can elaborate on in that interview. Telling a story about your career communicates what you've done, how you did it, a why, giving a full view of how amazing you are and your career journey, right? But you can prepare a short storyline for each bullet point, right? So when you create that bullet point, it's going to be that condensed version of a bigger story, right? The structure is really going to be clear formatting on a professional layout of your resume. That's going to be something that I always recommend. We do give our resume templates in our mini course, our resume and LinkedIn mini course, where you can have 3 of our most popular resume templates that have worked for a lot of our clients in the past. But we recommend a very clear, non-cluttered, simple resume that is straightforward and easy to scan, because recruiters on average are going to scan your resume for 6 seconds. This is also going to allow your content and your value proposition, your unique skills to shine through. I also recommend avoiding tables, graphics, pictures, anything like that, because that can confuse the ATS. Now, if you followed me for a long time, we also recommend not going directly to the job boards, but instead networking your way in so that you can tell your story and you can really showcase your UVP, your value proposition to people first, so that you can get buy-in from people and they can introduce you using those employee referrals instead of fighting your way in the job applications. But going back to the structure of a resume format, using the margins, consistent font sizes, standard fonts like Arial or Times New Roman is also going to maximize your way to showcase your unique value proposition, but also maximize best practices so that you're not getting thrown out for like difficult readability, etc. We also recommend using bullet points for almost every single thing. I see so many times resumes have paragraphs right underneath their title and their company name, etc. And that's always going to be very difficult because most of the time those paragraphs are not going to get read. What does get read in a very quick scan is bullet points. So we bullet point everything. Here are some other best practices for how we can get your authentic story onto your resume, and to help with that mental load part that comes in when it comes to writing about yourself and writing that resume. The best practices is really capturing your career wins throughout your career as they happen in a kudos folder, an add a girl, add a boy folder, a wins folder, whatever you want to call it. But as you are achieving things, as you finish projects, as you get wins or accolades from your coworkers or your boss or your C-level executives, put those in a kudos folder. It's only going to take you about 30 seconds as it happens, but when you go to write your resume, this is going to significantly decrease the time you spend on your resume. It will also help remember that story, because you might have a snippet of an email from a boss that says, "Great job, so-and-so. I love how you did this, this, and this, and it really helped out our clients this way." And boom, that's a resume bullet point in and of itself for instead of having you have to sit there and go, "Oh my gosh, what did I do? How did it help? I don't even remember this story." You can also use old job descriptions for valuable insights as to what you did if it was a long time ago. But remember, we want to really get away from job description bullet points and responsibility-based bullet points, and instead move towards those accomplishment-based bullet points. So it's okay to use your old job descriptions to refresh your memory, but instead ask yourself for each of those job description bullet points, why did I do that? Was there a result attached to it? How did I do that, right? This is the formula that I like to use when writing a bullet point. What I did, how it was done, and why. That's going to not just include the what I did, which most people that's the only thing that they include in their bullet points is the responsibility. But instead, it's also going to include that storytelling aspect of here's how it was done, and most importantly, why, the result I got, and how I can get those results for you. And of course, what we always recommend is highlighting achievements, quantifiable data, and metrics as much as possible, because those things pop out on your resume when people are scanning as much as possible. So this is going to be something that's really important. When it comes to your LinkedIn profile, the other part of your branding, I highly recommend getting the about section, the headline, your bullet points in your experience section, all of those things included on your LinkedIn profile, because as you're networking with people, most people are going to see your LinkedIn profile before they even see your resume. And that's really important for you to have your brand be online in a very professional and storytelling way. Another thing that I recommend is really telling why you are different from other people in that about section. Showcase what you're passionate about, why you're passionate about being a leader, what accomplishments have really stood out, so that people can see that in that about section. Another thing to mention is that this is hard. Writing about yourself is extremely hard. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I've written over 5,000 resumes. The hardest one I've ever had to write is my own. It is a lot easier to write about someone else, in my opinion, to write about someone else, because when you write about yourself, a lot of things are at play here. The mental load of having to write about yourself, the emotional task of writing about yourself, of having emotions tied to that. Maybe you're writing about a project that didn't go well. Maybe you're writing about a project where you didn't like the people that you worked with. Maybe it was in a toxic work environment, and going back to that time and writing about it is really draining for you. And that's why I always recommend, if this is a hard task for someone to do, work with someone like me. Of course, I'm going to always recommend us because we like our process, but the way that we do it is and I like to brag, my superpower is I love hearing people's stories. I love, and I am gifted at hearing what you've done, why it was important to you. And because I've done this so many times, I usually can tell what the result is because of the fact that so many people have done similar things and gotten similar results, or what that result should have been. So getting a results-oriented, achievement-based, and authentic resume written for you is because I've listened to your story and we've worked together on that in a collaborative way. That's what most of our packages are about. And then developing that LinkedIn profile really elevate you and differentiate you from that competition. Listen, we go to a doctor to help us out when we're not feeling well. We go to counseling or therapist when maybe our marriage isn't that great, or we go to a mechanic when our car isn't feeling that good, right? And so why, when it comes to our career, when it's something so important, would we leave something as important as our personal branding documents, our resume, our LinkedIn up to ourselves when we can delegate it out to an expert, right? And that's what I am, is an expert. And so I always recommend, if you're struggling with this, let's go and work on it together. Let me write about you so that you can focus on finding the right people to network with, building out your stories. We can talk about your stories together when I build out your resume so that you're doing it in a safe environment. You're building that confidence and you're getting a boost in your job search right away. And we can take that off of your plate for you. But again, if you want to tackle this yourself, we also have a resume and LinkedIn mini course where you're getting my templates, you're getting my best practices, and we're kind of doing it together in a DIY fashion in a course. So there are many different options that we have available. You can check this out at www.optimizedcareers.com if you want to check out some of our packages, or if you would like us to take that off of your plate and we can handle that for you. We're going to be talking about later this month how to really be your authentic self in an online presence. What that means is on LinkedIn, in social media. And nowadays, if you're not online, you're kind of behind the game, right? And I don't know hardly anyone out there that isn't online, right? And so I'm going to be really diving into my best tips, best practices on how to be your authentic self and how to share content online, specifically on LinkedIn. But some really great tips here is when you're using that storytelling approach in your resume and bringing your career experiences to life, and you're seeing that, one, it's a real big boost in confidence, but that's how you're going to start in your interviews. And you can start building that skill, which is something that we teach in our interview prep course, is how to build that storytelling skill, which, by the way, in all of our branding packages, you get access to my whole course bundle. But you can use that storytelling in your online posts to enhance your professional image, write articles, share other people's articles, share your opinions, share your insights, and all of a sudden you have now become this online expert and this industry expert for your specific area of expertise. And why this is so important is because nowadays, when it comes to your career, being that Jack or Jill of all trades isn't necessarily working in people's favor. It's where can you be that expert, and what is your value proposition, and how can you differentiate yourself from the rest, and how can you do it authentically? How can you do it in a way that helps people and is congruent with the rest of your life, and how does it really pull everything together? And so this is something that we're going to really be talking and focusing on for the rest of this month, is how can you pull your job seeking tools together to find a company that's going to value you as the authentic version of you, because you deserve to be valued. And I don't know about you, but for me, I've worked at a lot of places that didn't necessarily value the authentic version of me. They valued what I can give them as long as I was meeting their expectations and twisting myself into a version of myself that wasn't authentically me, that was a people pleaser, that was a perfectionist, and that gave and gave and gave on promises of promotion and raises, but never actually delivered. And if that's something that you find yourself in, I got to tell you, there are companies out there that will value you for who you are and the innovation that you can bring. And it's going to start with you standing in your power and being that authentic version of yourself first and foremost in a search. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. It starts with your resume and your LinkedIn profile. And if that's something where you're struggling to figure out, let us help you. Book a free consultation with us. If you go to www.optimizedcareers.com, you can actually see a button where you can book a free call with myself or my husband, Jack, so we can learn a little bit more about your career, your story, and how we can help you start with presenting yourself authentically online and give you the tools so that you can start a strategic job search that allows you to find the company that's for you. Remember, every slight improvement that you make on your resume and online profile brings you closer to your career goals, brings you more in alignment to your authentic self. Your unique story is a strength, so show it off and get ready for new opportunities. I highly recommend make sure that you are subscribed to the OCS, Optimized Career Solutions YouTube channel. We make sure that we post a podcast episode where Jack and I film it, and you can see us film them every Wednesday, and one of these supplementary full-length videos where I give you as many best practices to help you advance your career every Thursday. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment below and let me know where you're struggling when it comes to updating your resume or your LinkedIn profile or even being authentic in your career so that I can come back and I can leave some advice. I read every single comment. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next week.